6:30 in the morning. This is my view looking up out of my hammock as I'm waking up. I stealth camped again. Was able to do it without the fly up, so I'm just looking up through the bug netting. Got my watch hanging on the ridge line, my little gaiters that keep the stuff out of my shoes, but get to listen to the birds and see the sky. I have to say everything was just a little bit damp this morning, even though there was no rain last night or anything. It's just the humidity is way up. It's still cool, but super humid. And that might be a precursor. Maybe that's what happens before the rain. I don't know. But it's gonna rain, I think, tonight, some tomorrow. Last I looked, the forecast had gotten better. So hopefully I'm not wasting a day off trail, but I need to resupply anyway. I think this is going to be all about equipment this time, and food, of course, but I have several things that need attention. My hammock's got a little fraying and ripping starting, so I may need to order up a new one of those and see if I can get it sent up trail. I don't think it's ready to fail catastrophically, but it's showing the use. My backpack, actually, the back support, which is netting that goes right against my back, that's frayed from, I think, my belt chafing on it. I don't think that's a big problem yet, but I'll keep an eye on it. But the big one is shoes. It's only been a few weeks, and they're still okay, but they're starting to peel apart, and I don't want to find myself with no shoes. So if I can find new ones of this brand, I'll get them. If not, I'll have to order those up and have them sent up trail, or else my wife has a pair on standby that she can FedEx out to me. So I got a lot of things to get at the outfitter, and then like a whole bunch of little things that I'm either running low on, or like hand sanitizer. I want to get some more chafing stick, a lot of little things like that. So I got a long list. So hopefully all that stuff will be there in Buena Vista. It sounds like it's not an ideal town for this stuff. In fact, I know I'm gonna have to take a bus into another town to get to an outfitter and get the freeze-dried or dehydrated food and the equipment I'm talking about. But usually these things work out. There's always, ordering things up for somewhere up trail. I mentioned this morning these gaiters. I don't know if I can get them in the frame. Here we go. Those are called Dirty Girl gaiters. What they do is they go over the top of your shoe and kind of cinch around your sock. And they are an immense help in keeping the little sticks and pine needles and stuff from going into your shoe. Super helpful, and everybody wears them for what it's worth. They're not the easiest thing to find. I got them at the NOC, the Nantahala Outdoor Center, that kayaking place from way back. And I've been wearing them since I put on the trail runners. I'm sure there's a way to get them online probably, but I highly recommend them, and they help a lot. So there's a few equipment things. I'll probably be able to throw some more thoughts out there as I restock and replace some things for anyone who's interested. So I'll keep the camera on when I do that shopping. I don't know how much of this you'll be able to read, but pretty interesting. There was a slave community, a freed slave community in the early 1900s that lived around this area, and brings up some kind of interesting, cool history about eating ash cakes, which don't sound that great on first blush, but sounds like they were pretty good. I can only imagine what life must have been like, and kind of cool to see the history. Lots of bridges in this area. thinking about that slave community living here. Can you imagine, like, in the dead of winter? It's in sort of a gully down here, and the water's got to be a great resource, but I don't know, what do they eat? How do they stay warm? Can't imagine. Well, this answers some of my questions about how they get by. They raise tobacco, oats, wheat, and corn. Huh. Disbanded in 1920s. That's not that long ago. Well, I guess I'm an old guy, but it's only 100 years ago. Really interesting. Must have been a tough life. I keep seeing these randomly in the middle of the trail, and I can't really tell where they're coming from. There's not like a bush or a tree that is close by where I see it, where I see others, but these seem to show up here and there, and they're very pretty, and they seem to just be laying in the middle of the trail. I don't know. So I just took the public bus from Buena Vista over to Lexington, Virginia, where there's supposed to be an outfitter where I'm hoping I can get shoes and such. It was very confusing. I don't consider myself all that dim, but I'll tell you what, their public bus thing was beyond. Anyway, I'm here. I hope they have shoes, and I hope I can make it back before the buses stop running at 6 o'clock. We'll see. Welcome to Buena Vista. 6,002 happy citizens and 3 old grouches. It's kind of funny. I was unsuccessful in getting my replacement shoes. The outfitter didn't have them, but I found out after doing all of the bus back and forth that the running store 2 doors away does have them. So I got to do that all again tomorrow to get to the running store and set them aside for me, and I will get them then. But I got all day, so it's all good. Now I'm heading out to try to find some dinner, which is not going to be easy, but it will happen. So Buena Vista is not a happening town. I was going to go to the really bad-looking Chinese restaurant, which was really bad-looking. It's like brick front with tiny windows, no light, shades pulled. And it turns out it was takeout only, which is probably smart because of COVID. But I passed by that one because I didn't want to walk a mile back with my food. And I went to Don Tequila's Mexican, and the food was not great, to be honest. I'm sorry, Don Tequila's, it wasn't great. But the internet was. So I got all my video uploaded, which was awesome and well worth the trip. And I'm sure the food will settle fine. So I've got all day here tomorrow. I'm going to go over and get my shoes in Lexington, Virginia. That'll take a couple hours because the transit system is not great. Honestly, if you had to be stuck in a town, I never thought I'd say this, but I think I'd rather be stuck in Marion. And I'd rather not be stuck anywhere. I would definitely not like to be stuck in Marion, just to be clear. But I'd even less like to be stuck here. Anyway, I will say the springtime is beautiful around here. The trees are beautiful, the mountains are beautiful. So really, if that's what you're looking for, this is the place. But in terms of services, not so much. You can kind of see the clouds and fog up over the mountains. Those are the lower hills, and the higher mountains have got to be pretty socked in. So probably a good night to be off trail, we'll see. That's the Burger King and the Exxon. The yellow building is my hotel. So it's a pretty basic setup for tonight, but it's going to be a nice, warm, dry room, and I have no complaints about that. The weather forecast is sort of a pick-your-own-adventure deal because there's rain in pretty much every day for the next week. So I've elected to be off tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully those will be good nights to be off, and maybe it'll be a little better after that. We'll see. We're wrapping up day 56 here in my hotel room, which will be nice and dry tonight, regardless of what happens outside. I will be here tomorrow. I'm taking a 0 day. I'm not really sure what I'll do with that 0 day because there's not a lot going on in Buena Vista, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. I got to get up to the running store, not the outfitter, to get the shoes that I want. They said they'll set them aside, so they should be there tomorrow. I got to go through the whole public transport thing to get there, and then again to get back. So there's all of that. And I got to get all my resupply stuff at the supermarket and the drugstore. So that should all be good. I did notice today when I went to the outfitter, it was really interesting that so much of the stuff that's carried, it's an outfitter kind of like a mini REI. And so much of what's carried is just not stuff that you would use on any kind of extended hike. You might buy it for an overnight or 2 overnights, but you probably end up not using it or finding it's not the right thing. There's just a whole lot of gear that isn't really ideal. And I know it's good business, and I know that, I buy lots of it and lots of people buy lots of it, but it is interesting. You strip down to the real basics when you do a through hike. I've dumped all kinds of weight out of my pack. I can't even begin to tell you. I got rid of a bunch of clothing. I lightened up my sleeping bag. I got rid of just a bunch of little things that I realized I wasn't using. And all of that has added up, I think, to at least 5 or 6 pounds worth of stuff. That pad that popped, of course, I got rid of. I don't think I'm going to replace it. I can't imagine finding myself in a situation where it's rainy enough to want to be in a shelter and there's still being room in a shelter because there's so many people on the trail that the shelters fill up by like lunchtime when it's raining. So that's been great, but it makes me realize a lot of that gear is just not stuff that you really need. And a lot of the stuff that I do need is not at the outfitter because it's kind of just, I don't know, low-end, low-price stuff that you need, commodity kind of things. Anyway, all good. So I'm not really sure what I'll do tomorrow, but there's a TV in the room. There's a Burger King across the way. So that could be the day. We'll see. I may not do a video. I think it's going to be kind of a boring day, but so be it. Did run into a guy on the trail today who had seen a deer that had no eyes. I said, what do you call that? He said, no idea. And then he said he'd seen a deer with no eyes and only one leg. And I said, what do you call that? He said, still no idea. So thanks for that one, Di.